Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to today's episode where you will spend a day in the life and help us troubleshoot Peppermint, who came in with some cooling issues and we can't figure out what's going on. We suspect an airlock, but we're not too sure. So we did find a hose that was leaking, the overflow hose, and we cut out the leaking section from the bottom side and now have changed that. So we've topped up, level is good. We've put in our bleeding funnel. So now we need to run the engine, get it up to temp, and then see whether we can figure out what's going on. Okay, so we've been running for about 10 minutes. Put in a little extra coolant, about 200 cc, and we have diagnostics running, monitoring the usual cooling affiliated parameters. So the target is to get to about 86 degrees, and since this vehicle has previously had a coolant throttle bypass operation done, I'll take off the cover. We can check those pipes and see whether there's anything that is worth being concerned about under there. Alright, let's do it. Okay, engine cover is off, and this vehicle, like I was saying, has had a coolant bypass done. What that means, basically, we take apart the lines coming from the block to the throttle body on both throttle bodies, as you can see those loop pipes, and just bypass them so that there's no coolant flow in between the head and the throttle body. What that does is it helps lower the intake temps, because this is a tropical vehicle now, since it's being used in a tropical area, so it will never see winter, and that means you don't need the throttle body being heated up by coolant running through it. Let's see how we're doing on temp here. Head is still warm. That is still okay. Diagnostics says that we're at about 82. So the magic number is 86, and I can see the coolant is rising a bit. Let's see whether we can squeeze any air out of that line. The idea here is to get the thermostat to open, and that happens at around 86 degrees. So if we can get it to open, then we can bleed any air that is in the system and figure out if we still have an air leak or if something else is going on. Alright, I got a quick way to fast idle the engine at about 1500 RPM. So the idea is to try and get the coolant up to maybe 95 or so that we can have the radiator fan open, and that's why I have the fan duty signal being monitored, as well as engine oil temp, just to make sure things don't go haywire. So yeah, let's leave it at that for a while. That should improve coolant flow since the pump is running. And I can see the level here is rising a bit more. So that means that our coolant is expanding. I don't know if you can see, it's actually starting to, some micro bubbles, and hotter coolant is starting to come in. Let's see where we are. Yep, temps are rising. So let's try and match what we're seeing here to what we have on the radiator feed pipe, because that will mean the thermostat is open, and so we should be able to get some good data. Yeah, so let's just be a bit more patient. As our coolant keeps rising, I went ahead and checked a couple of things before this, including the radiator cup, and the return flexi is good, the seals are good, and the spring itself is also good. So I believe this is not our victim or culprit, but we shall get to know. Temps are climbing, and I can hear the engine idle changing to compensate. fans are not yet open, so we'll wait a little bit more. Let's just compare temps here. Oh yeah, we're climbing. I think our thermostat is open by now. That's why we have a lot more coolant up here. So let's just give it a bit. My magic number will be 96 degrees. And then I'll call it quits and see whether we can diagnose anything else that we may have missed. So while we were off camera, two huge bubble chunks came out, and just you can see how far down the level dropped, and I needed to turn off the engine because we were already at about 98 degrees. So yes, I think we had an airlock of sorts, as you can see, still going down. So let me quickly top that up and just make sure it has enough coolant to swallow. Then we shall call it a day, shall we?